Hi, my name is Mel. I am coming to you from Colorado, and today we're going to do Fatty Pancakes Etsy ad audits. What could potentially be the issue here? Is it keywords? Is it my SEO? Is it I know Etsy has a lot of different variables so I'm kind of wondering what potentially could be causing so many clicks
Mm.
but not like a return, not an actual purchase.
All right, Mel, welcome back. This is our first repeat for an Etsy shop audit, but the only reason is because we're mixing it up a little bit. And this is an Etsy ads audit where we're actually diving into your Etsy ads account and we're going to be looking through it and we're going to see, well, if we can make any improvements or if we can see anything obvious that we can tweak and get you some more traffic and get you more sales. That sound cool?
Sounds cool.
All right. So why don't we do this, Chris? Why don't we pull up the screen real quick and we'll just get right into it. So we're looking at your Etsy ads performance. Looks like the last 30. Why don't you
Mhm.
walk us through like right now, I guess? And again, you don't have to show us anything yet, but maybe even explain how do you feel like your ads have been performing since you've been running them? And how long have you been running them, Mel?
Oh gosh, I don't have an exact time frame on how long I've been running them. I want to say maybe I know in the last year I have had them running, but it's kind of hit and miss. Some of the things that I've noticed is that obviously since I run an exclusively reptile niche shop, certain species are more active in terms of clicks, impressions, purchases, and then there's other listings where it's kind of like I know that these are popular species, but they're not performing as well as some of the other, items that have already been purchased. So I'm kind of like, what could potentially be the issue here? Is it keywords? Is it my SEO? Is it, I know Etsy has a lot of different variables which will push a listing out into the search, like world when you look for stuff. So I'm kind of wondering what potentially could be causing so many clicks,
Mm.
but not like a return, not an actual purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a big one. And we'll
Mhm.
we'll definitely dig into that. Chris, I know you wanted to say something there.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, Scott, just now with that context, looking at the last 30 days, which is what we're looking at here, what's the
Mhm.
first thing that sticks out to you here?
Well, the first thing that I'm looking at is we have looks like, and that's the traffic. So the views, we have some really good views. We've spent $100, 116. We brought in 108. We've almost broken even on the ads part, but we've lost probably on the other side and 6 orders. So orders, I'd want to dig into that a little bit further. But I mean, the first thing that I'm looking at, Chris, is like we're getting views, we're getting a lot of clicks and those clicks should turn into more than 6 orders. So there's definitely something wrong conversion wise.
So are we getting a lot of clicks though? So looking at this, we're getting a less than 1% click-through rate, right?
Mhm.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be okay, right? The thing that sticks out to me from just looking at that is there's the potential here that a lot of those views are not necessarily relevant. And if that's the case, Mel, then when we start to look at those clicks, that 387 number, even some of those people who clicked through may not be relevant. So when we see something where we have 42, almost 43,000 views and 387 clicks, the very first thing that says to me is we should probably have a little bit of a higher click through rate here. It's never going to be 5%, but it is kind of on the low end of where I would want to see that for ads. So the very first thing I'm going to be thinking about when I go in to look at the data is, are we showing for things that are actually relevant? Because if the views aren't relevant, then the clicks aren't necessarily going to be relevant. And that means we're going to have that lower conversion rate than we want.
Okay.
So that's just the first thing that really stuck out to me there as something we're going to want to keep an eye on when we dive in to look at the data.
Yeah. And so I think the first step here that I would be doing if this was my account, okay, the first thing that I'm doing is I want to see those clicks. I want to see what we're getting clicks for, and I want to see the keywords that are bringing them over. So let's go into that right now. And the way that you can do that. Do you know how to do that, Mel? to go in there to look at the data?
Well, I know that we can just scroll down here and it
Yep.
will show,
Yep.
yeah, the stuff.
Just scroll here. And this is again, this should be still set for the last 30 days.
Mhm.
And so let's sort by clicks. So if you click on where it says clicks, yep, we can go ahead and sort, and that should give us in the order. Okay. So there we are. So we've had 35 clicks there with no orders. We've had 21 on the other one, click-through rate of 1.6. That's a little better, but still no sales. And so really, I'm not seeing a lot of sales. I see one sale on the ball python decal, 1156, 10 clicks. And that one there has resulted in a pretty good return. But let's go into the first one, Chris. Let's go into the very first one that has the most clicks right now, 35 clicks. And let's just go ahead and dig into details on those stats. All right. And this is again, last 30 days. Let's go down and look at the keywords. There's 84 total keywords, it looks like, that led to that. Let's click on that.
Yeah, so Mel, if you click on that blue magnifying glass.
Yep,
This one here.
right there. There you
All
go.
right.
There you go. Now, this is the gold, guys. This is where we see where is everything happening.
Hey, real quick, I wanted to give you a little behind the scenes on how these Etsy shop audits even happen. Every single month, Chris Schaefer and I, we meet and we batch record 3 to 4 of these episodes. Then they get edited and they get posted like the one you're watching right now. But what we decided to do is create what we call our Backstage Pass Club. This is where all of our club members, they get to join us on that recording as we're doing it live. The other cool thing is you're able to ask questions, and you also can get access to the recordings before they ever air, immediately, raw and unedited. You even get all the questions that were asked that you might have missed because, well, maybe you couldn't attend that one live. So if you'd like to be part of our Backstage Pass Club and join our next batch recording session, head on over to brandcreators.com/club or click the link in the description. Now let's get back to the audit.
So we have right there 5 clicks from Leopard Gecko. Okay. We have 5 clicks, no sales. Okay. The next one is Leopard Gecko sticker. Okay. And then we have Leopard Gecko accessories. Okay. Now I think you can sort here too at the top. If you go to click where it says clicks, yeah, click on that and it should, yeah, there we go. So there's all our clicks from this. Now you're probably saying like, well, that's not all the clicks. It said we had more than that. Yeah, these are the ones that they're tracing back to a keyword. So you're not always going to get those, but at least it gives us some info. Now I forgot, what is the title of this? What is this product?
So this product, which has more keywords more than an actual like title, but
Mhm.
this is it right here.
Okay.
So leopard gecko is obviously going to be one of the first things that I put in there because I want to make sure to capture that species like right up front,
Mhm.
and then the product type, and then so this particular listing is one of the original ones that I uploaded way back in the day, and so I did not really understand how to properly phrase titles.
Mhm.
So I just sort of keyworded this, and this is one of those things that I'd like to go back and update because I believe that Etsy does not want you to use this format. They actually would encourage you to do something more akin to how somebody would actually be searching for something.
Mhm.
So if, a person just bought a leopard gecko and they want to put a customized something on there, they can do, whether it's leopard gecko decal, leopard gecko sticker, have that in some sort of like readable format instead of how I actually have it.
Mhm. Okay. So the other thing that we're going to want to do here, and we're going to have to probably switch back and forth, but I want to look at the listing itself because that's going to
Okay.
tell us something. But I do want to say this before we do that. If we look at the views, there's a lot of views in 30 days. Okay. Now, views are not people clicking on your listing, right? The clicks are really what matter, but the views lets me know that for these searches, for this type of product, there's that many impressions that were done or that many people that scrolled to see my listing, right? It appeared for someone to actually have the ability to click. right? So we always want to keep that in mind. So when people ask me like, oh, how do you know if a product has demand? Well, this is a good way of like testing to see, oh, is there enough demand? Oh, wow, there's 4,200 views and oh, there's 35 clicks, but there's no sales. So that's where we would want to then dig in. And I mean, looking at the keywords that are driving the clicks, they look like they're related to the product. It doesn't stand out to me that like I'm like, oh my gosh, like we got to turn that off. Right.
Yeah. And there's a couple things here, Scott, that stick out to me. And then I want to ask you a question. Remind me. So like sweatshirt, this is not
Yeah,
a sweatshirt. So
I just
probably not
saw
relevant,
that
right?
too. Hmm.
That's not going to make or break us though, but that is going to lead to what I was talking about a minute ago of us having a lot of impressions for things that aren't necessarily relevant.
Mhm.
So if somebody were to see that and go, oh, cool, sweatshirt, and click on it, because that's how people click on ads a lot of time, they're like, this is exactly what I want. They then get into the listing and they're like, oh, it's a sticker. I'm not going to put a sticker on my sweatshirt. And then they leave. So when we start to see things like that popping up, we do want, in a lot of cases, to come in and trim this off. Now,
Yeah.
with 5 impressions, it's not the end of the world, right? But since we're here looking at it right now, that is something we're going to want to keep an eye on. Scott, I noticed here right at the top that we've turned off the keyword leopard gecko. Is that something you would have done based on what you're seeing? 378 views and 5 clicks.
At this point, I would not turn it off because it's only 5 clicks. If it was 25 clicks, probably would, but I still don't feel like that's enough for me to say, because it is it's a leopard gecko sticker. It's still the thing, but it's not necessarily the exact thing. But it's not like it was a different type of a reptile, right? And then you were showing up because you had that in one of your descriptions or one of your tags or something, right? Only 5 clicks. I would probably continue to leave that on because it is a leopard gecko something, right? The other one, a leopard gecko sweatshirt, I turn that off. Anything or the pin, leopard gecko pin, I'd probably turn that off, right? It's not, if someone's looking for a pin and that's a sticker, they're not buying the sticker, right? There's a chance, but they're probably not. Now you could argue and say, well, leopard gecko could be it could be the pin, it could be the accessories, it could be the sweatshirt, it could, but I still want to leave that because it is the exact main thing that I'm going after.
Yeah.
So I would not turn that off yet, but I would keep an eye on it for sure.
And if
For
you're
sure.
if you're on the fence about whether or not it's the right thing to do to turn it off or leave it on, what we're really talking about here, Scott, is search intent. What is somebody looking for when they type that thing in? If they include the word pin, sweatshirt, accessory, hide, sticker, right? Like we know that that's the thing. But if it's just that fathead keyword of leopard gecko, and we're not sure about whether to turn it off or not, one easy way to do that would just be to go to Etsy to see what they're showing. If it's all leopard gecko pins, then we would probably turn it off. If it's a mixture of things, because Etsy doesn't know necessarily what the intent behind that search is, then I would leave it on and gather a little bit more data just to get a better understanding of if somebody's just going and they're looking for leopard gecko because their sister has one and her birthday's coming up and she doesn't know if she wants a pin, a sticker, or whatever. She might type just in leopard gecko to see what Etsy brings back. And if we get enough impressions on that, does that turn into a sale? And then is that profitable?
Yeah. Let's go to another one real quick.
Yeah.
So if you can back out of this, and then we'll go into another one. So let's see another one that had like the 21 clicks. That didn't turn into a sale. So you spent $6.17 on that. And that's a dragon gift throw blanket. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and click into the detailed stats on that one. There we go. Okay. And then let's scroll down and let's go into searches that led to it. So there's 17, right? And so we have 3 there. Bearded dragon blanket. Perfect. Okay. But it's only 3 clicks. Okay. So it shouldn't, that shouldn't stop you or that shouldn't make you say I should turn this off because it is a bearded dragon blanket, right? Let's look at another one here. Okay, so bearded dragon clothes, that one probably I would turn off because it's not clothes. Okay. Now that one there resulted in a click, so you paid for that. The other ones like bearded dragon patch, I probably turn that off because it's not. Bearded dragon plush, probably leave it. Bearded dragon stuff, maybe leave that. If it resulted in clicks and it didn't result in something, then I'd come back to it. Lizard, I turn it off. It's too broad, right? And I do think you narrowing this down, I don't have proof of this, but I think narrowing this down also is training Etsy as to what it should be showing you for, right? You're telling it like, oh, I'm not this, I'm that. I'm not that, or I'm this, I'm that. So you're kind of like, you're training it as you're turning things on and off.
Are these okay? So let me ask a question.
Yeah.
So are these based off of my tags or okay, so these are just keywords searched by buyers.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
what
'Cause
Etsy does, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I had no idea that this even existed within here. So, and I had no idea that you could actually target these relevant keywords to your listings and stuff.
Well, here's the thing. You can't tell Etsy that you want to target these. It will target them for you, but you have to give it the information in your listings to know that you want to target these.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So we did an Etsy audit recently, and we basically showed that exact thing. Like, it's like the complaint is like, well, my Etsy ads, I'm not getting any traffic. Right. And it's like, okay, but did you tell Etsy what you're selling? Well, I did, but then come to find out that you weren't targeting the right keyword. Right. And then, so because you weren't targeting the right keyword, Etsy doesn't know to go out there and put it in front of those types of people. So that's why your tags are super important for this. Okay. Your title, your description, anywhere that you can put your keywords is going to let Etsy know that that's who they're supposed to be showing this in front of.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
because
you can give you tag suggestions. So Mel, go back out of this one again.
Sure.
And I'll show you like, I forget where that is now, Chris. Is it like when you go into the detailed report and then, it might be. Let's go into it one more though. Let's go into the crested gecko, the one that had 18 clicks.
The one that had
Let's go into the
18.
detailed report on that real quick. Yep, right
All
there.
right.
Yep. And then let me see here. Where was that?
Up at the top, there's the related tags section.
Oh yeah, there you go.
What you're talking about?
So where it says related tags, there you go. Click on that. So Etsy's telling you like, hey, are any of these on the left here? Are any of these better tags than what you currently have? So it's literally suggesting. And then, so if you looked at like digital stationery, no, like digital stickers, no, right? But if there was something here like reptile lover, right? So all you would do is click that plus and it's going to add it to your tags now. And then you would save your tags. So it's literally telling you like, hey, you might be missing some opportunities here. Right. And so that's another way for you to kind of get some intel from Etsy as far as them trying to help you get in front of more people. And I don't know, is reptile lover in here? Should it be in here? Probably should be in there.
Probably in place of decal or sticker, right? Because they already know from your title and your description that it's a decal or a sticker. Right. And we don't have to repeat things across title, description, and tags. We don't have to repeat them anywhere. If it's in there once, that's more than enough for Etsy to pull it up. And the ads report is actually a really good way to understand how their algorithm works, because Etsy gets way more rambunctious and open when you're willing to give them a few bucks, right? So while they might not show you for, what was it? This is a crested gecko. So like 6-toed sloth decal, on the organic side, they might be willing to open that keyword up to you if that was somehow related to leopard gecko from purchase behavior, things that, maybe they type in 6-toed sloth, which I don't even think is a real thing. And then the next thing they search for is crested gecko. They open up a lot more of the algorithm on the paid side than they do on the free side, because they're saying, hey, if you're willing to pay for it, we're willing to show you. And then you tell us if it's relevant or not.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can X out of this. But this is, again, what you're going to probably want to do is go through and you're going to want to see and fine tune these. You're definitely going to want to go into those keywords that led to clicks and keep an eye on those. Right now, you can set your date range to be longer, I believe, as well. So if you go into your date range where it says last 30, and you can do this year. So do this year, right? And then that's going to give you, it should give you everything on this particular one. So if you scroll down, I don't know if it gives you more here. It says 61. Yeah.
They
So there's
still,
60.
yeah, they still limit it to the 30 days though,
Yeah.
unfortunately, in the keywords data.
Yeah. So, but that's what I would be doing here. Let's go back to that first one though. I'm curious on that one there. I want to look at the listing itself. So what was if you go back out of this, let's look at
Was it the leopard gecko?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
If we could see that listing and
Oh,
then look and see.
this is opening up for me to edit my listing.
Oh
There
yeah.
we
So
go.
we're not even seeing that screen right now. Chris, can you open it up on your side and can we just maybe share your screen over? So that way there we can see like her listing and she can stay kind of in her manager. But if you want, while he's doing,
which one was it? The leopard gecko or was it
Yeah.
the
Leopard
yeah,
gecko decal.
yeah.
all right?
So we're going to go ahead and share that over so we can at least look at it. Cause we want to also make sure like, okay, the keyword that's driving people over there that got clicks, it is relevant. If it wasn't relevant, if it was the sweatshirt one, we would have turned that off. Now this says it's in 12 people's carts. Now I'm assuming you have the coupon engaged for that, Mel?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay. And Etsy supposedly is going to be rolling out the time expiring coupons for these. So that I think that's going to help with these conversions.
One
Yeah.
question about that. Do you know if they're going to be just replacing what is currently in place, or do we need to like stop that promo and then like reactivate it again once the new deployment comes out?
I don't know the answer to that. I would probably say that they're going to probably do it on any new ones that are moving forward. I think that would make sense because it's going to be kind of hard for them to take an existing one that's been there for 90 days and then make it all of a sudden have a deadline.
Mhm.
So I personally, I think once we know that that's official, I would just go in and just like stop it, start it,
Okay.
like, and just kind of re-engage it. You should probably do that about every 90 days anyway, because then what happens is anybody that's, I know for the add to carts, anybody that's added to cart in the last 90 days, you have a checkbox there that you can then notify those people to remind them about that. Now, I don't know if
Gotcha.
that'll still be there once they do the coupon code that's going to expire because that 90 days would be too far back. But right now it
Yeah,
is the case.
I think what we'll see is if you have it set up, they'll just let it run. And then if you go in and want to edit or change it, they'll ask you if you want to add a deadline to it. That would be, if I was running Etsy, first of all, we'd have a lot more information. But second, that would be kind of the logical approach to it, because that way they're not turning stuff off that you have on. They're just giving you that option moving forward.
Okay.
So Scott, looking at this,
Yep.
let me stretch this out just a little bit so we can get the title in there too. Outside of the title, what is the first thing that really sticks out to you here?
The first thing that sticks out to me is I think we need to update our image, our main image. I think this needs to be shown like you have the one on the window there. Like that represents it better. It's small. I think I would zoom in on it so you could see it. That right there to me is way more compelling than the thing on the blue because I don't know what that means. I want to see it on the thing that I'm going to be buying. Right. So I think this is a better image that could increase your conversion rate because now people are like, when they see the other, they're like, I don't want a blue decal. And you're like, well, what do you mean? That's not blue. It's on the paper, the film that it comes on, but it looks like it's on blue.
Yeah, because that one is just to show the design, the detail of the design to kind of lure. That's my thought process because, like you were saying, this is super tiny. So if somebody were to be browsing on Etsy, because that thumbnail is going to be reduced even more, it's going to be pretty hard to see. They're just going to see the back end of my Subaru, and they're just going to be like, nothing's really grabbing me.
But right here, what Chris just did, that's what I would do. I would zoom right in. I can see that that's the back of a car. I can see that that's a window, right? I would just crop that in so I see this on glass with a little bit of the car, and that's it. And you see the defrost, elements on the back of the car. I know that that's what that is. This here is way more inviting because it's like, oh, that's what it's going to look like, right? The other one is confusing to me because I'm like, I don't want blue, but it's not blue, right? It's just the film. But to
Yeah.
me, you got to remember, people are going to look at that and assume that that's blue. They're not going to know that that's just film.
That the word you just said, Scott, I think is the number one lesson I want people to pull away from this when we're looking at the keywords and then coming back and looking at the listing. The reason we get clicks on things that don't make a lot of sense, and the reason that people might come into the listing and then not buy when it does make sense. So if they type in leopard gecko sticker and come to the listing, why wouldn't they purchase? It's because of customer confusion. And if we look at this one,
Yep.
I don't know when I'm looking at the Etsy search results. Is this a sticker? Is this an SVG?
Mhm.
Is this a tank decal? I don't know. And I'm a smart enough human being to read the title and try to do that, but it's not going to show up the same way on every device. Not everybody's going to see the title. They're going to go, oh, that's a cute little gecko. They're going to click on it, right? And then we're spending ad dollars on something that isn't relevant and isn't relevant to the buyer. So if we have a way of, in the title and in the image, clearly demonstrating what the product is, that's going to go a long way to increasing click-through rate, which is the number of people who are clicking from organic search or from ads into the listing. And then once they get there, because they already know what it is, you're going to have a much higher conversion rate because you're not dealing with I'm not sure what it is. Oh, it's a sticker. I wanted the SVG, and then them bouncing back out.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This also opens up the opportunity for me to get some additional photos. I mean, this is kind of the bane of wanting the largest collection of reptile stuff, but I'm gonna have to go back and edit like all of these listings to shift all of these like photos and stuff like that. I don't
But
think there's really an easy
I
way.
would start here because this is your top one that's getting the most views,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
leopard gecko decal is your number one right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'd start there and work backwards. The other thing I would do too, and remember though, like this is your lead to bring people in, right? This is it, right? We talk about that. We've talked about that a lot here on these Etsy shop audits is like, we want those 3 to 5 products that bring people in that are our people, right? If someone buys a decal, they're just letting you know, like, I'm into reptiles. Like I'm into, the gecko. Like I'm into it. Right. And so that just gives you those other opportunities. So the other thing I would do with this is I would take your phone and I would record a video walking kind of close to the thing and then turning it a little bit and bringing it back. And then that would be my second image slot. And that would be a video. So now when people are scrolling, they're going to see, woo, zoom in. Oh, it's on a car, boom. But to you, you're thinking, I've got the largest sticker collection. I'm going to have to do it with all of them. No, you don't. Just do it with the ones that matter right now.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it. That's going to bump up your conversions. I would almost guarantee that because I think the confusion is someone clicks and then they go, oh, it's blue or, oh, you know what I mean? Like, or even getting all those views and only getting 5 clicks, right? You're like, well, maybe you should have gotten 20 clicks. You would have gotten 20 clicks if they saw it was on glass and it wasn't, they think it's blue, right? And they're like, I don't want a blue sticker on the back of my car, right? So that's the difference when we're looking at like, you're getting good views, you're getting decent clicks on this one in particular, but why aren't people buying it? And I think that's the thing is they're thinking they want a white one, even though it's a white one, they see blue and they're like, oh, I don't want that. And then they don't even look at the rest of the images, even though
Right.
this is in your third image spot. So honestly, I would take this opportunity to update your main image with a zoomed in shot of that. And then secondly, I would take a quick video and upload that in the video spot. And then from there, I would probably even, if you print these yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I would take a picture of it coming out of a printer. Take a picture of that, right? Now you're manufacturing them, right? Like showing a little bit behind the scenes. Anything else that you can add in there, maybe some other examples, like whatever. But I think the main one is your main image slot. If you can add a video slot, now you're really trying to convert at a higher level.
Do the videos actually have, I mean, I know that Etsy makes claims on when you're on a brand new listing page when you're uploading stuff,
Yeah.
that it does actually have a notice on there that says, oh, video conversions are high, or purchases are at a higher conversion when you have a
Yeah.
video inside of your listing. But I never seen any kind of conversion based off of that, so maybe that applies to other particular venues outside of my own. But I can definitely see the need to expand the photography range in the listing photos, because I don't even have something on there to indicate, how it would look on an enclosure, which
Mm.
could be something, because that's a great majority of the
Oh
decals are
yeah.
going on there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you're not printing every single one to put on an enclosure and then dealing with taking it off, we can Photoshop that, right? It's a
Yeah.
transparent PNG
Yes.
image
Yeah.
on a
That's
piece
what
of
I do.
transparent
Yeah.
glass, right?
Yeah.
We can do that. That doesn't solve the video angle, but we don't necessarily have to have a video for every single one of these. Although I'm willing to bet you could probably find a stock video and slap that image right on there if you wanted to. In terms of videos impacting conversion rate, the Etsy buyer survey, the 2023 version of that we did, said it wasn't a huge influence on the purchase itself. However, it is a huge influence on the click-through rate
Yeah.
from search and ads. Why is that? Because if you have a video, Etsy shows it. So when they're scrolling through, they go, something just moved, and they click on it. And so if you can
Okay.
get them into the listing,
Yeah.
then you have them there, and we can capture them with the rest of the information. And so even if it didn't have a direct impact on the conversion rate for you, by getting more qualified traffic because you're using that moving image to attract the attention in the search results, we get more people to the listing, and then we just have to figure out how to get them to convert. So we can solve some of that traffic problem, even if it isn't a direct impact on conversion. Now, I would say, especially something, Scott, like the video you were just talking about, that will have an increase in conversion, whether it's 1/10 of 1%, who knows? But the reason for that is we're solving another question that people have, is what does it look like in real life? Okay, cool. You photoshopped an image. That's fine. That's cool. Everybody does that. Everybody uses the same 6 stock photos. But with the video, people trust that a little bit more, and it gives them a much better indication of size, because
Mm.
your video is going to have real life objects in it. And that's one of the things that's really cool about the photo that we were just looking at, is they kind of have a rough idea of the size of a car. They might not know what 3 inches by 5 inches looks like, but they do know what the back of a car looks like. And they go, okay, that would fit really well on mine. Or like, I have a little tiny window on the back of my car, so that's not the right one for me. We help them make that purchase decision by showing them scale and by showing them what it looks like in real life. So that's where the video would have an impact on the conversion rate. But the real win is the impact it tends to have on the click-through rate.
Okay.
Yeah. I think click-through rate is big, but I also think like one of your biggest issues right now is with it, people thinking it's blue. Like I do think that that's a thing that's a deterrent for people, because they're going to see that and immediately be like, I'm out. Like they won't even give it a chance. They didn't look at that third image. So I think correct that, along with if you have the time to do the video, I would make the time myself personally on this particular one. Not that you got to do it on all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I even think like, because you got to remember, it's only like, I think 10 seconds. It's like really short, 10 or 15 seconds. It's like really short. But the other thing I was thinking too is like, if you quickly like walked up on it, and then you had another part of the video where you actually see you peeling it and then sticking it on. Right. So I know it's a little bit more, but once you do that for that one, you can test it and see. But again, like whenever I see stuff like that, it shows like the hand, like you said, Chris, you can see the size of a hand, and now you see it going over. So you got to get a better idea of scale. You've seen that too, where people will put down like a stack of pennies and then they'll put something next to it, or a quarter,
Yeah.
because everybody knows the size of a quarter.
I've
Right.
done that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the same idea. But I really think that will boost your clicks, and it will boost your conversions. And I think also, now that you are aware of like looking at the keywords that are driving those clicks, that's going to be a big thing. Now, don't go in there like every day. Like I'd make that like maybe once a week, once every couple of weeks, like something like that. unless you say, oh my gosh, I've got this spike of clicks and I'm not getting any sales. Well, yeah, do some research. But I would say once a week should be plenty on
Okay.
that.
All right. Because that was going to be one of my questions was how frequently should I go in there? I know that touching your SEO and stuff like that is one of those just set it and forget it for like a
Yeah.
month,
Yep.
kind of a deal.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think you're spot on with that. So awesome. So was this helpful?
Yes, very much so.
Awesome.
So I learned about some deeper things that I can go and poke around in Etsy that I was not formally aware of. So yeah, education. The more you know. Pring.
There you go. Look at that.
We need to
Beautiful.
get Mel a rainbow here. I
I
think
do.
the thing that I would take away from this, Mel, is not necessarily that you're doing anything wrong. It's just we need to know how to look at the data and how to analyze it. And I said at the beginning, the very first thing that I see when I look at this, just because I've done this a million times on every platform, is that click-through rate, right? That click-through rate is like 0.9%. I'm not going to do the math on 41,000. Somebody can do that and correct me in the comments, right? But I'd like to see that like 1.5 plus, even on ads. And so my initial assumption is, okay, well, maybe there's a rogue keyword in here where they're showing us 95,000 times for leopard gecko SVG. That's not necessarily the case. Now, there are a lot of impressions that we're getting that aren't relevant. Leopard gecko sweatshirt, not going to be relevant for that. And we're going to cut those things out. But the biggest hurdle I think that you're facing right now, and you probably will see this if you look at your search data as well on the organic side. And I think that's in the marketing reports, Scott, right? The search, the beta search analytics report.
Yeah.
Is you may see something similar there where you have a lower click-through rate than you really should, because when it does come up in the listings, people don't necessarily know what it is. And the only way to do that is to look at the data and say, this is kind of below where it should be, right? Where should it be? 1.5, 2 plus, right? And if it's below that, then we have to drill in and find the reason. And in this case, it looks like it's that first image, because it doesn't tell me clearly what it is. And if I don't know what it is in the search results, I'm not going to click on it. I'm going to go to the one that I know that it is, because it clearly shows me that it's a sticker or it's a t-shirt or it's a blanket.
Okay. All right. So
Cool.
I have some action plans that I can add to my ever-growing to-do list of things that I need to get done for here. But yeah, it's been slow progress, kind of making the adjustments from the last audit that we did too. But I've got a show coming up in 2 weeks, so I've been kind of pushing all my energy into that. But I will say one thing, and that is for the social media side, I haven't been stressing nearly as much about that at all. So I'm still posting, but if I miss like a day or even I missed a whole week, the one week, and I'm just like, I'll just make up for it, at a later date. It's fine. So I'm just trying to make sure that I focus my energy on, kind of ratcheting down and really focusing more on things that are really critical and important because, as an artist, I'm not like keywords and SEO and all of this
Yeah.
informational and granular data. This isn't something that I've ever been exposed to. And so having this kind of like knowledge, poured onto me has been really, really helpful.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that's a big one. And I think that's great that you took that away. Cause I mean, that's big. Focus is everything. Consistency is everything, but consistency on the right things is really important. So I'm so glad that you were able to walk away with that. And again, we'll be checking in with you. And I know this was like not even a follow-up. This was an Etsy ads
Something else.
audit that we wanted to do because we haven't done one of them here on the channel. And we wanted to do it, to test it, to see how it went, and also to see how our Backstage Pass Club members enjoyed it and how anyone else is enjoying it that's watching this publicly after it airs. So let us know in the comments, is this something we should do again? Should we do another Etsy ads audit? But anyway, Mel, I want to thank you again for coming on and keep us posted as usual. And we're looking forward to hearing your results.
I will absolutely keep you guys up to speed. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
So that's a wrap for this Etsy shop audit. But if you want to watch more, well, you can find some more right here. And if you do, well, I'll see you there.